talk a little bit, review if you will, a little bit about linear perspective. I think sometimes people struggle with that unnecessarily. So let me see if I can clear up some of those problems. Um, what I've got here, this black line, is just arbitrarily set, and having a little trouble being arbitrary, it looks like. This black line is just arbitrarily set as the horizon. Now the horizon is that imaginary line, of course, where the sky meets the earth. Um, and on that horizon, and I could set it here, that's usually looked upon as eye level. So if this is my horizon, then I'm going to put a vanishing point on it. Now this is just one point linear perspective. Here's a vanishing point right here. I can put it anywhere, but it's very important because it's going to help us understand how to set up a view. All right. So now what I'm going to do is to make all this work, I'm doing this in Illustrator. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some kind of an object. Let's just try to build some sort of a three-dimensional object. And I'll do that by hitting that rectangle there. I'll make that filled in the center like that. And you see, I can make that now a column, a rectilinear column. How am I going to do that? Well, that's where it gets interesting, doesn't it? So let me show you what we'll do. We're going to set up, I'm going to try to change lines here. We're going to set up lines that go to this vanishing point, and along that line I'm going to be able to set up, if you will, a column or the sides of this column that will make it look three-dimensional according to one-point linear perspective. All right, and then I'll try for two for those of you who want to hang around for that. I don't want to create a sudden death situation here, but I'll do my best. All right, what I'm going to do is set up along this line, now that I have from the top of this angle to that linear perspective, from the top of this angle to that linear perspective. That tells me that my next rectangle ought to fit, or that other side of the rectangle ought to fit right in here. So if I lay a line right from the top of that to the bottom, that's going to show me that other side of the linear perspective, or that column that I want to see. I'm trying to get it to line up right. There we go. All right. So now that ought to show me that right in here I've got a three-dimensional setup for this particular column according to that one-point linear perspective. Now, is this 2-point? No, it's not. Why isn't it? Well, because you need another vanishing point. How am I going to do that? Well, let me show you. I'm going to first of all cheat a little and try to get just that vanishing point if I can. Just select it here. There, I got it. And I'm going to copy and paste this. So now I have two vanishing points to work with. Now I'm going to take this vanishing point and set it up right here. And this is going to show me how I can make a two-point linear perspective drawing out of this. All right. Now, a two-point linear perspective drawing will not have this front face. All right. It will have, and I'm going to alter this if I can, it will have two sides showing of this particular structure. Now the structure could be a doorway, it could be a building, but now I have two vanishing points, and the way I'm going to set up this other line is I go from that same line. This is the corner, and that for two-point linear perspective, probably the best thing to remember is you want to have a corner, okay? And then it's both sides going away from that corner. All right, so now what I'm going to do is from this corner, take this line to that second vanishing point, from this corner to that second vanishing point. Now, the reason I chose this as a place for that vanishing point is I was kind of out of room, but it could be anywhere. Had I made this particular corner, say over here, then I would make the angle go from there. Now I have an angle that I can go in and set up my next vanishing point, if you will, or my next side, I'm sorry. Let's say this is a building and it goes all the way to there, or it's a piece of furniture and it goes all the way to there. So I'm dropping that perpendicular to this side line and to this corner line, and then I'm coming over here and doing the same. Now that means that my two-point linear perspective, it's close enough, my two-point linear perspective is going to fit from here to here. Now if this were a piece of furniture, I might go ahead then and set up a space here that I would want to give myself a shelf, and I do it the same way. Let's say my shelf began right here. I'm going to take it to that same vanishing point. Say my shelf belongs here. This is a 3-shelf bookcase that I'm attempting to draw. which is actually an assignment in this drawing class. So now what I have are lines that show me how those shells would relate to that two-point linear perspective. Now this would be where my wooden side was, and I wouldn't see all that. But anyway, hopefully that gives you an idea of how you set up a two-point linear or a one-point linear perspective. Again, just an idea, hoping that it might maybe rough out some of those edges and clarify some things for you. Thanks very much for your attention.